Testing over. Now we're joined by Coach Neal Brown, the head coach of West Virginia. Coach, welcome, and your thoughts about the upcoming season.
Yes, good morning. It's officially football season, and so glad to see each of you. Glad to be back here. I want to say this. I thank you all for being here. Appreciate what each of you in the media do for our game of college football and what you do to promote college football. Proud to represent the Big 12 Conference and West Virginia University. Players that are joining us here today, we have defensive lineman Dante Stills, who's a senior, represent Fairmont Senior High School in West Virginia, one of our own. I think he's got a chance to really have a breakout senior season. His brother Darius played for us, and then running back Neal Brown, first team all-conference player a year ago, went over 1,000 yards in just 10 games. And both those guys, Letty's from Delaware, played a senior year in high school at Newman-Goretti there. But both those guys are tremendous representatives of our football program, and proud that they're here to join us today. Also want to mention in this forum just the tremendous leadership that the Big 12 with Commissioner Bowlesby and Ed Stewart over the last 18 months. I think they've done a tremendous job navigating all the challenges, everything that's changing in the landscape of college football. And also our athletic director, Shane Lyons, who leads the Division I Council now. Before that, was the lead on the Football Oversight Committee and made so many decisions that enabled us to play college football last year. So in this forum, I wanted to recognize those individuals. As a program, we continue to climb. We're making progress. If you think about it off the field, we just finished up $55 million worth of program enhancements. That's really had a positive effect, and we've got a lot of momentum in recruiting right now. Continuing off the field academically, our guys had a 3.11 GPA the spring semester. We've graduated 100% of our guys going back over the last 19 months, so we're really proud of them in that area. And then culturally, I think our buy-in is extremely high right now, and we made tremendous progress over the last 2 years with the culture within our football program. And then on the field, which is I know why you all are here, I like our team. I'll say that at the front. I really like our team. I think our leadership is better than at any point that since I was named the head coach in January of 19. Starting on defense, I thought we had one of the best defensive units in the Big 12 Conference last year and nationally, and our statistics back that up. And really, that's going to be the unit with the most experience. That's going to be the unit that will lead us again. I think it starts up front on our defensive line. Talked about Dante, who was one of our most improved players in the spring. And then also Akeem Messidor, who was freshman All-American last year. I think we've moved him inside. I think he's got really an opportunity to be a special player in our league. At linebacker, Josh Chandler is going to step into the role that Tony Fields did such a great job with last year at the Mike linebacker position. We've got some moving pieces to that position. I think fall camp is really going to determine how we go into the season feeling about that, the linebacker position. And in the secondary, we return both starting safeties, Sean Mahone, Alonzo Adai, that have played a lot of football in this league and played it at an elite level. Nick Troy Fortune returns at corner. So a lot of returning players in the secondary. And we had I think we ended the season as #1 pass defense in the country last year. Offensively, we made growth. We struggled, didn't play very well the last 2 games of the season offensively. I think that skewed the stats. But for the first time, we have experience on that side of the ball, especially up front. And for us to make a step in our league, and we went from kind of the bottom of 19 toward the middle of the 20, for us to make the next step to the top tier is we've got to be more productive on that side of the ball. Starts at quarterback. Jared Daggy returns. Thought he played really well during the middle part of the season last year. He probably had the best spring of anybody on the offensive side of the ball. At running back, Neal Brown, we've talked about him. I think he's special. His video showed that last year. We've got to develop some depth at his position. And then receiver is going to be we've got guys that have played football now for 2 years, and we've got talent in that room. They had a really good spring. They've got to make the next step. And I think how they play is going to determine the success of our offense. Up front, we've got 5 guys that have played a lot of college football, and we got a couple young guys I think will be factoring into that position. And at tight end, we return Michael Laughlin, who, again, I think he's played a lot of football, and he's ready to take and be one of the top tight ends in our league. And then special teams, it's a lot of importance there. I think we've got to be better in the return game. That's something we've really challenged our players. And then we've got to be more consistent kicking and punting. We have more athleticism than we've had at any point over the last 2.5 years. So I think our coverage units are going to continue to be productive, and that's the plan. Schedule-wise, very challenging. You know, we play 11 Power 5. I think we're one of 4 universities that play 11 Power 5. 9 league games, as you know, and then we play 2 regional rivals. And the regional rivals are important for our fan base. We open up at Maryland, which is going to be a challenge. And then week 3, we welcome Virginia Tech, which is, going back to the Big East days, one of the main rivals for our program. So we're looking forward to the challenge. And with that, I'll open it up for questions.
Okay, questions. We'll start up on the front, second row on the aisle. Just a moment. We got a microphone to you.
Hi, Coach. Madison D'Addario at Gaylor College at OU. All of your losses except for one last season were only 2-score losses. What are you looking to focus on offensively this season to close that gap?
Yeah, so we finished 6-4 last year, and really we're in the games, the other 3 games, right, till about the 2-minute mark, with an opportunity with the ball to score and take the lead in 2 of those games. So I think, again, defensively, if you look at the scores of those games, we were right into it. I think what we've got to do is third downs and red zone are the most important pieces for us offensively to take advantage of. We've got to score touchdowns rather than kick field goals in the red zone. And then on third down, we've got to be able to convert, especially in the middle.
We had a question, the third or fourth row back.
Hey, Coach Cedric Golden, Austin American Statesman. You guys are picked 6th to finish in the Big 12 preseason poll. Are people sleeping on West Virginia, and what do you have to do to get higher up in those rankings?
Well, can't control where you're at in preseason. I'm sure there's reasons why we're there. It's like I'll tell you, like I tell our players, you either prove them right or you prove them wrong. You know, and our goal this season is to prove them wrong. To do that, we've got to play better. To be able to play better, you got to practice better. And so that's our goal. That's what we're focused on. You know, our theme for this year is to be better. And that's the objective in every phase is to be better.
We've got a question on the outside left, about halfway back.
Ian Boyd, Inside Texas. You mentioned just now that Jared was your most improved player on offense in the spring. One obvious area for improvement on offense is more explosiveness in the passing game. Is that an area for improvement, or where did he impress you?
So 2 things with Jared in the spring is pocket awareness and pocket movement. And then second thing was his really accuracy on the deep ball. And that's something that we've got to, as an offense, we've got to be more explosive. We missed too many shots down the field. We had people open a lot of times that we didn't connect. We had some drops that were a factor in that. But we've got to be more explosive. In this league, if you look at the teams that have played offense at an elite level, and there's several of those over the course of the last 10, 12 years, is they're not grinding out drives. They're explosive plays. And to have explosive plays, you got to be able to break tackles. You got to be elite run after the catch, or you got to hit shots down the field. And we think we have some guys in Letty Brown and some others that can break tackles. We have some guys, Winston Wright, Sam James, that have shown the ability to run after the catch. Well, we've got to make a step in, and it's a significant step, is having more explosive plays.
Question on the third row, right side.
Hey, Coach. Cole Thompson, LonghornsCountry.com. You only had Tony last year, but what does it take, and what are you looking at to replace his production for what he was able to do across the middle of the field at both the second and third level of defense?
Well, what Tony Fields did so well, and I think it's important to note, Tony got to us about 3 days into fall camp. You know, he wasn't there in the summer. Nobody had spring ball, so he obviously wasn't there then. But he was an eraser for us, and he played the game at full speed, was really fast sideline to sideline, could match up in coverage-wise with running backs in our league. I think what we've got to do is, I don't think that one person necessarily makes that. I think we've got to do a better job as a linebacker core in general of playing in the box, which I think we're capable of doing. And then we've got to do a better job when we blitz. We didn't do a good enough job last year blitzing. But I like the guys. We've got guys that are unproven. Josh Chandler played extremely well in our bowl game. And I was telling the ESPNU crew, if you look at our bowl game, the people that we've lost on defense outside of Darius, they didn't play in the bowl game. We still played at an elite level versus a very difficult offense to defend. So we've got guys with experience. And Josh Chandler was the MVP of the bowl game. And then we've got Lance Dixon, who transferred. X-Ray Lowe's played a lot of football for us. And then we've got Deshaun Stevens, who just transferred in from Maine. So we've got some guys that have played football at a high level. They've got to get reps within our system.
Outside right, about 3/4 of the way back.
Kevin Kinder, Blue and Gold News. Coach, I know you've put in a bunch of programs to address a lot of the things around football, but how are you and your staff making time for yourselves with all these new demands, and how are you making sure that football remains the focus?
Yeah. Kevin, first of all, thanks. We had all these Longhorn questions. We finally got a West Virginia question, so I appreciate it. All right. But Kevin, I think this is a challenging time for coaches, and what I mean is we're in an evolving world, and I don't know if that anybody will sit at this podium necessarily has answers for what the future of our game looks like. As far as football, I think you got to keep, our guys. The two main priorities that our players have right now are academics and football, and you got to maintain those. Now, I think they can continue within the right structure. They can maintain those priorities and still profit off name, image, likeness. They can still do things socially. I think those are all possible. As coaches, I think the important piece with the players is relationships. None of that changes. Name, image, likeness, that doesn't change. You got to focus on relationships, and I think that for our staff's perspective, that's what our focus is. And then everybody on our staff was hired because they're experts in football. And we've got to continue to maintain that expertise by staying up on schemes, staying up on evaluations, those type of things. So all the stuff on the perimeter, whether it's our fifth quarter program, whether it's different time demands due to name, image, likeness, other things, we've got to keep the main things. And that's the role of the head coach, to make sure that myself and our staff and everybody, players-wise as well, are keeping the main things.
We had a question on the left on the aisle, about 3/4 back.
This is John Hoover, SI Sooners. Neal, this is kind of a West Virginia question, so want to ask you about Spencer Rattler, and you guys were the only team in the league last year that did not face him.
We prepared for him twice.
You prepared for him
count?
twice. Exactly. So you're ready from
Yeah.
that perspective. But just being the team that didn't face him, does that give any kind of scouting disadvantage, or how do you guys approach that when you play him this year?
I don't think it's a disadvantage. We did prepare for him twice, both games. One postponed, the other one canceled. I was really impressed with his growth from the beginning of the season to the end. I think that's credit to Lincoln, credit to that offensive staff. The thing that he does that shows up on film, because we saw Oklahoma a lot on crossover film, so watched him on a lot as we went through our Big 12 season last year. He's got elite arm talent. He's got the unique ability to buy time and create plays with his feet. He's a creator, and he's got great players around him, and that's not going to change.
Got a question on the right, straight back.
Yeah, Neal Garanimig of the Tulsa World. Would you be willing to share your approach to the COVID vaccination with your players, how you're handling that?
Just from an educational standpoint, not a medical expert. We bring our medical team in front. I think our team has been well versed. It's an individual decision. I can speak from personal experience. I've been vaccinated. My wife was vaccinated, 13-year-old daughter, my parents, my wife's parents. So I share personal experience. But as far as advice, that comes from our medical community.
Got a question in the middle, about 5 rows. Thank you for standing.
Oh, Neal. Hey, Chip Brown with Horns 24/7. New coaches talk about the buy-in wins and when the players and the program start to buy in. Can you talk about when that occurred for you and how your culture is growing?
Well, I think when we started having success toward the end of 2019 season, we were able to go on the road and we won 2 of our last 3 games, which was a huge turning point, which gave us an opportunity heading into the 20 season to take a step. I really feel strongly if we were able to play our full schedule, then I think the improvement would have been even more so, because you look at the improvement offensively and defensively, we were one of the most improved units on both sides of the ball. But that's for me when it starts, and you can see the progress. We've got to continue to grow, and I think we are. And I think it's a culture, it's a talent. All those things got to continue to improve.
On the aisle, left side.
Hey, Coach Sean J. Roger, Dave Campbell's Texas Football. From a defensive perspective, obviously you guys were kind of thrust into a strange situation last year. So from like a call perspective, can you kind of break down how things worked last year and how are they going to change this year?
Yeah, we were Jordan Leslie called our defense last year. He'll call our defense this year. Last year he was assisted in the secondary by Jamal Adai, and he did a very good job for us. And Shadon Brown moved over from Louisville, took his place, and he'll have that same role. We take a staff approach, really, on offense and defense to how we build our game plans. Jordan's a play caller on defense, and he gets input from every one of our staff. Shadon has been a defense coordinator throughout his career. Dante Wright, who coaches safeties, has called defense at lower levels. Jeff Coons was a defensive coordinator at Cincinnati. And so we have a lot of experience. Jeff Castile is off the field for us in an analyst role. And so everybody in that room has an opportunity to give input, but Jordan makes the final decision.
This is the final question for Coach. We had somebody. No? All right, Coach, you got lucky. Congratulations. Thanks for your comments, and good luck for the season.
Yeah, and again, I appreciate y'all being here. And before closing, I want to give a shout out to our sports information department, Mike Fergale and Mike Montoro. Monty's a star here, and as he shuffles out, but they do a tremendous job with our team, and they've done a great job getting our players ready for this. So I want to say thanks to them as well. Y'all have a great day. Appreciate you being here.
Thanks, Coach.